Hey guys, welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. I was reading something interesting over on the Corvette forum about the C8 and I wanted to share it with you. So there was two renderings I came across on the Corvette forum that actually are pretty nice looking. This is probably the first rendering that I'm looking at that I would actually say I like. I've made a few videos talking about how I'm not really that sold on the C8's looks, and this particular picture here, this is a nice looking car. If it comes out and it actually looks like that, that has a very Ferrari-esque look about it, but at the same time, still kind of a Corvette look to it as well. So both of these renderings were done by the same person over on the MID-ENGINE Corvette forum.com. I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce his name and butchering it, but I will put it up on the screen just so you guys can see who it is that actually did the renderings on these. Like I said, the one from the side and this one from the rear shot, this is probably the nicest looking rendering I've seen yet. If this car actually looks like this, I would consider buying it. And this one from the rear, you can kind of see where it would say Corvette. It almost looks like it says Ferrari right there, but these renderings are definitely borrowing some design from Ferrari, so it wouldn't surprise me if that actually does say Ferrari. Now, the interesting piece of information actually comes from a poster on the Corvette forum that goes by the name of Unlimited Power. He talks about how he is actually close to someone on the inside following this whole Corvette C8 mid-engine debacle. He goes on to say that basically without jeopardizing this person that he's close with that he gets information from, he wants to give us some information. So what he ends up talking about is two different Corvettes that are going to be coming out. And the first one is going to make its debut in 2020, and it's actually going to be called the Corvette Manta Ray. So similar to the Stingray, this one's going to be called a Manta Ray. He goes on to say that this insider that's giving him knowledge has confirmed that it's going to be powered by an updated LT1 V8 with 520 horsepower and 485 foot-pound of torque. He also goes on to say that a dual-clutch transmission will be used in all of the C8s, no exceptions. That means no manuals, no 10-speed automatics. It's all going to be dual-clutch. He touches on the interior quality, stating that it will be somewhat higher than the C7 as far as quality goes, and that GM's stylists have attempted a more upscale design. He personally states he has not seen it, but he says that the people who have say that it's pretty impressive, but it's still not up to Porsche or Ferrari quality, which he then goes on to say seems fair given apparently the price of the car. He never mentions anything in this post about what the price of the car is actually going to be, but I am assuming based on that last piece of information that it's going to be less than the majority of the Porsche or Ferrari models. Now, the most important piece of information I think he posted was he said in 2021, GM is going to basically revolutionize the whole Corvette lineup, and they're actually going to bring in another Corvette. And it's actually going to be split into two different high-end models. One's going to be called a Grand Tour, and one's going to be called a Grand Sport. Now, this is where things get interesting because of all the talk about these cars being possibly a mid-engine Cadillac. Apparently, the Cadillac design team actually had a lot to do with the Grand Tour version of this Corvette that will supposedly be released in 2021. So the Grand Tour will have magnetic ride control standard and will have a full array of noise-reducing countermeasures like acoustic glass, heavy sound deadening, special wheels and tires for cross-country tours and all of that kind of stuff. It's basically going to be your Corvette built for comfort. The GT version, or Grand Touring version, will have Cadillac's 4.2-liter twin-turbo V8, just like we've seen in previous leaks. And this is said to be the quietest V8 engine that GM has ever developed, which again would make sense for the GT or Grand Touring version. Apparently, GM decided to make the Grand Sport version of this car called the Grand Sport instead of a Z06 because they found that the buyers of the Corvette preferred the name Grand Sport over what they call, quote unquote, gibberish Z06. So they ran with it. Now, he goes on to say that magnetic ride control will be standard in this Grand Sport version as well, but there will also be a track package that will have DSSV shocks and a higher output engine. He claims that the Grand Sport version will be powered by the 5.5 liter twin turbo V8 that is said to be very powerful and in private track sessions has apparently dominated German and Italian cars. Now, again, a lot of this stuff you want to take with a grain of salt because this is someone who is apparently pretty new to the Corvette forum posting these things. Now, honestly, a lot of this stuff sounds like it could be spot on to me. That's the only reason I'm even making a video about this, because honestly, this could be exactly what we end up getting. A lot of this stuff kind of falls into line whenever you think about all the previous leaks that we've seen, with everybody thinking that this car was possibly going to be a Cadillac or released alongside a Cadillac. Now, another thing that I had commented on previous videos was how GM was actually going to consider changing the actual name of this car to just Corvette, that it was going to drop the Chevrolet completely. And another part that he ends up touching on in this post kind of fits into that. That's not exactly what they're going to do, but ultimately what it sounds like they're going to do is actually make it so not every single GM dealership out there can even sell this particular Corvette. They would basically have to qualify to sell Corvettes, so you wouldn't have to worry about just a random guy who works on the low-end GM cars also working on your expensive new C8 Corvette. He also touches on the 7th generation Camaro and how it's going to kind of slide into the current 7th generation Corvettes spot as far as performance goes by the year 2021. Because of the C8 bumping itself up out of that performance category into a completely new category, the Camaro is kind of going to fill the Corvette spot. He does vaguely touch on the fact that this car could potentially have an electric version of it in the future. Doesn't really go into a lot of detail with that particular part of it, because apparently the 2020 Corvette being the Manta Ray and the 2021 Corvette being split into a GT and a GS is apparently as far as he got with it. I was definitely pretty excited to read some of this stuff. A lot of it could, of course, be speculation still, but the way a lot of this seems to fall in line with some of the previous leaks we've seen or heard of kind of tells me that some of this stuff might be true. And honestly, these two renderings that I'm seeing here are two of the nicest ones I've seen yet. So I really hope some of this information is true. That way we can actually get a car that I would be proud to drive. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you as part of the Horsepower Obsessed community, so please do. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next upload.